Have you ever woken up and felt like your entire life had slipped through your fingers overnight? Like the warmth of your home, the sound of familiar voices, and everything that once made you feel alive had vanished into thin air, leaving only silence behind. That's what happened to me. I lost everything. My happy life, my marriage, my work, and I'm about to lose my life too. I felt alone and rejected. But things weren't always like that. I used to be a very happy and beautiful girl. People always turned to look at me when I walked by. I had a smooth brown skin that shone like chocolate in the sun. My body was small but shaped nicely. I had soft hair, a flat tummy, and people always said I looked really good. Everything started when I was in the university. I was in my third year studying computer science, and I lived in a nice house outside the school with my little sister. That day was a normal Tuesday. I had an early morning class at 8 o'clock. After the class, I was walking home on a quiet road. The sun was shining, and I was thinking about what I would eat when I got home. Suddenly, a black car passed by very fast. I didn't care at first, but then the car stopped and began to drive backward. That was strange. The window came down, and a man looked at me. His name was Desmond. I didn't know it yet, but meeting him that day would change everything in my life. It was the start of a big story, the one that had love, pain, and many hard lessons. At first, I didn't want to enter the car. I told him no and kept walking, but he didn't drive off. He kept talking, gently, with a soft voice and calm eyes. He said he saw me and just had to say something, that I looked like someone he had seen in a dream. I laughed. It sounded silly, but there was something about his confidence that made me pause. Then he said he just wanted to drop me at the junction ahead if I was scared. I told him I wasn't scared, and that was the truth. I had grown up in the city and I had seen things, but maybe I was a little curious too, so I opened the door and entered. The ride was short, maybe 10 minutes, but in that small time, he asked questions and made me smile. He said he was in town for business. I didn't believe everything, but I liked the way he spoke, like someone who knew what he wanted and where he was going in life. When we reached the junction, he asked for my number. I hesitated, but gave it to him. I didn't think too much of it. That evening he called. The next morning he texted, and just like that, Desmond became a part of my daily routine. At first, it was light, a good morning message, a sweet voice note, then calls that lasted for hours. He wanted to know everything, my class timetable, what food I liked, how I styled my hair. He listened like he truly cared. And to be honest, it felt good. Nobody had ever looked at me the way he did. Like I was more than just a girl, like I was something rare. I didn't know it then, but he was already weaving a net around me. Desmond and I started talking more. He would call me every day, send me sweet messages, and ask if I had eaten. Sometimes he brought me small gifts and everything felt perfect because that was the dream of every girl. Little by little, I started liking him. We laughed a lot when we were together. He made me feel special, like I was the most important girl in the world. Before I knew it, we were spending time together almost every weekend. I would go to his place on Fridays, we would go to places, and on Monday morning, he would drop me off at the campus. Soon, we started dating. I didn't even realize when it happened. It just felt right. I thought I'd found the one. But my younger sister didn't feel the same. She would look at Desmond and say something felt strange about him, but I laughed it off. I told her she was just being too serious. After all, Desmond had never been mean to me. He was loving, kind, and always knew the right thing to say. Time passed and I finished school. I was so happy. Desmond was proud of me too. After school, I went for my 1-year service. It was tough being far from Desmond, but he always called and checked on me. Sometimes he would send money or surprise me with a delivery of food. He made me feel loved, even from far away. Then one day, near the end of my NYSC, Desmond surprised me again, this time with a small box in his hand. He asked me to marry him. I was so shocked and happy. I didn't know what to say at first, but then I said yes. I thought my dreams were coming true. My sister still looked worried. She smiled, but I could tell she was not truly happy. She said, "Just be sure you know what you are doing." But I felt I was sure. Not long after that, we got married. It was a beautiful wedding. I wore a white dress, and everyone clapped and danced. People said we looked perfect together. I believed my life was about to become even better. But I didn't know then that this was just the beginning of everything changing. At first, marriage felt like a dream. Desmond and I lived in a nice house. We had a big bed, pretty curtains, and a fridge full of food. I cooked his favorite meals and tried to make him happy every day. I thought we were doing well. But after some time, Desmond started changing. One morning, While I was getting dressed, he looked at me and said something that made my heart hot. He said, "I don't know why I married a dark girl." I was confused. I asked him what he meant, and he said fair girls have always been my type. I didn't understand. He used to call me beautiful. He used to smile at my skin and say it was smooth and rich like chocolate. Now he looked at me with tired eyes and said my skin was too dark for his liking. Soon, he started bringing up the same thing again and again. He would say, "You know, if you bleach your skin, you will look even better." I angrily told him I liked my skin just the way it was, and that he knew I was chocolate before he asked me to marry him, and that my mother and my sister always said my chocolate skin was lovely. But Desmond didn't stop. Every time we had a small argument, he brought it up. He would say things like, "If you bleach your skin, I'll stop looking at other girls, or just do this for me, and I'll love you even more." I didn't know what to do. I started checking my face in the mirror every day, looking at my arms, my leg. I started wondering if I was truly ugly. I tried to smile when I was sad, hoping he wouldn't say it again, but he always did. It felt like he was slowly washing away the girl I used to be, the strong, happy, and proud girl who loved her skin. And all I wanted was for him to love me again the way he used to. After many weeks of hearing Desmond complain about my skin, I started to feel very sad. I no longer smiled the way I used to. I stayed quiet most of the time and didn't laugh at funny things anymore. Even when I was with people, I felt like I was all alone. My parents and siblings began to notice. Each time I visited, they would look at my face carefully. I could see the worry in their eyes. My mom thought maybe I was expecting a baby. She thought that was why I looked tired and moody, but I wasn't pregnant. One Sunday, after lunch at home, I couldn't hold it anymore. I cried. The words poured out like water from a broken cup. I told them everything. How Desmond always complained about my skin, how he wanted me to bleach, and how he promised to stop chasing other women only if I changed myself. There was silence in the room. My father stood still. My mom sat quietly, her hands shaking. My sister looked at me like her heart was breaking. They couldn't believe that the same man I used to praise so much was now making me feel worthless. They begged me to come back home. They told me the signs were there from the beginning. They reminded me that they warned me when things were still small, back when I could have walked away without carrying too much pain. They said if anything worse ever happened, if I got hurt in the house, they wouldn't be able to take me back. But I didn't listen. I thought they didn't want my marriage to work. I believed that they were jealous of my life. I thought they didn't understand what love meant, so I stayed. I told myself that things would get better. I told myself that maybe, just maybe, Desmond would change again and be the sweet man I first met. But deep inside, I was slowly breaking. After many months of fighting with myself, I gave in. I started bleaching my skin. At first, it felt strange. The creams were strong. They made my skin tingle and sometimes hot, but I kept using them, morning and night, hoping things would change. And they did. Desmond started smiling at me again. He said I looked finer. He called me beautiful more often and brought me gifts. He took me out on dates again, held my hands in public, and acted like the man I had fallen in love with long ago. He stopped looking at other girls. At least, that was what I thought. And for the first time in a long while, I felt like I had done the right thing. So I shut everyone else out. I stopped calling my parents. I ignored my sister's messages. I didn't visit home. I told myself that they never really wanted me happy and that they were only trying to ruin my marriage. I chose Desmond over everyone else. The days turned into months. The months into 2 full years. But then, one morning, I woke up to a terrible smell in our bedroom. It was strong, like something rotten, something sick. I looked around the room, checked the windows, and even opened the wardrobe, thinking maybe food had gone bad or something had died. But there was nothing. The smell didn't go away. Each day, it got stronger. At first, I thought maybe I was imagining it. I cleaned the house from top to bottom. I changed the bedsheet, sprayed perfumes, even washed all my clothes, but nothing changed. Then one day, while I was taking a bath, I noticed that the smell became worse whenever water touched my skin. I looked at myself in the mirror. My skin looked thinner than before. Some parts had turned darker, while others were red and raw. My arms had small wounds, and my legs looked like they were burning. That's when I knew the smell was coming from me. I was the one rotten. When Desmond noticed it, he changed. He started acting like I wasn't the same person he married. He no longer called me beautiful. He no longer brought me gifts. He stopped holding me. He stopped sleeping in our room and moved to the guest room. He said I made the whole house stink. He stopped eating the food I cooked. He said it made him feel sick. Even when I tried to explain to him that I wasn't feeling well, he didn't listen. He would come home late, talk to me with harsh words, and slam the door behind him. One day, I fainted on my way to the mall. I was rushed to the hospital by a kind neighbor who saw me fall. After some tests, the doctor looked at me with sad eyes. He said my kidneys were not working well. All the bleaching creams I used, the ones I thought would make my husband love me more, had started to damage my body inside. My blood was not clean. My kidneys, which helped to clean my blood, were tired and sick. The doctor said I needed help fast or something would get worse. I sat on the hospital bed and stared at the wall. I had lost my skin, I had lost my health, and now I was losing myself. Then, my younger sister decided to visit because she missed me, and to make things right, she walked into the house and froze. I could see the shock on her face as she stared at me. My skin was no longer smooth. It was patchy, thin and covered with wounds. I smelled bad. No matter how many times I bathed, I couldn't hide it anymore. She cried and called my parents. They rushed to the city that same day. When they saw me, they couldn't believe I was the same girl who once turned hairs everywhere she went. My mother held me and cried so much that her scarf fell off. My father kept pacing around the house, asking why I never listened. They wanted to take me home, to care for me. But before that could happen, Desmond came in holding a brown envelope. He didn't even look at my family. He dropped the envelope on the table and said I should sign it. Inside were divorce papers. He wanted to leave me. I felt like someone had poured me boiling water on my heart. I thought all the bleaching, all the pains, was to make him happy, and now he was throwing me away like old clothes. A week later, I heard the truth that shattered what was left of me. Desmond had been seeing another woman. She was chocolate-skinned, the same complexion he said was not his spec, and he has been with her for 4 years, even before I started bleaching. I felt broken, completely empty. The hospital said I needed a kidney transplant. My whole family came forward, ready to help me. My parents, my sister, even my cousins. But none of their kidneys matched mine. We searched everywhere for a donor, but nobody came when they heard my story. Days turned into weeks, and I felt myself getting weaker and weaker. I began to think about this. I began to wonder if that was how my story would end, alone, sick and broken. Just when I thought it was over, I opened my eyes. The smell was gone. The hospital bed was gone. The wounds, the divorce, the pain, it was all gone. I was back in my room. My bright, clean room in the small apartment I shared with my younger sister in school. The sun was shining through the curtain. My books were still on the table. My school bag was by the chair. I sat up slowly, my heart beating fast. My skin was still the same rich chocolate color, smooth, unhot, beautiful. It had all been a dream, a long, scary dream that felt so real. I looked around and smiled with relief. I was still a student. I hadn't gotten married yet, but I was dating Desmond in real life, and now I knew what I needed to do. Just then, my phone rang. It was Desmond. He started talking. His voice was calm, but the words he said were sharp. He said he had been thinking, and maybe I should try bleaching my skin, just a little. He said it would make me look better, and that I would be more his type. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. This time, I smiled. I told him I was beautiful just the way I was. I told him that if he wanted someone with different skin, he should go find them. I told him I would never hurt myself to make someone love me. Then I ended the call, and just like that, I ended the relationship too. I stood up in front of the mirror, looked at my skin, and thanked God for the warning. That dream had saved me. It showed me a future I never wanted to live. Never change your body to make someone love you. If they can't love you the way you are, they are not the one for you. The right person will see your worth without asking you to shrink, bend, or break.